Okay, so welcome to part two of this. I hadn't even had a part two in mind when I started, but I was leading a call, and this is what I realized in the call. We were talking about planning our next year, and people spoke about the resistance to planning, which is the artist thing. Artists really resist planning. The entrepreneur, all about planning and structure and, block time and being efficient and effective. And the artist has no particular desire to be efficient. That's not the artist's thing. But there's another factor that needs to be woven into this. And you could imagine these two are both an expression of something. And that something is, in part, not only though, the child. Yeah, these are both reactive. Children are reactive, and they're supposed to be. Nothing wrong with that. That's how they're built. But there's a reactivity that comes. Collapsing is not a choice that people make. We just get triggered into it, yeah? Posturing is also something we get triggered into. So it's the child, and of course, there's also... there's some hurt. So when you have the hurt child that's in charge and is running the show, this is what you get. So if you are an artist, which most of you are watching this, yeah, and you tend to the collapse side, which most of you do, what that means is the hurt child. This is kind of who you are. This is more your nature, but that nature is being filtered through, right? The hurt child. And so what that looks like is this collapsed artist. And then people say, well, I just have a resistance to planning. I sit down, I just get overwhelmed, I short circuit, I can't seem to plan. No, a part of you can't plan. And that part of you is running the show, and that part of you is the hurt child. That part freaks out and melts down and just can't do it. And if you combine that hurt child with a very extreme artistic temperament, which doesn't mean it shouldn't be an extreme temperament. I mean, we need those people in the world. But if you are on the very far side of the creative, in the flow artist, and you also have a more feminine nature and the hurt child, say goodbye to planning. Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to do because you just want to be in the flow with things. And yet, that doesn't work so well if it's going to be a business. If it's a hobby, whatever, it's great, wonderful. But if it's a business, we need to bring some of the other parts on board. And composure, this is the adult who is healed. So if we have the adult in charge, because adults are not reactive, the adult part of us is not reactive. It's responsible, able to respond. It's responsive to the world, not reactive to the world. So if you are an artist and you've got the adult in charge, the healed adult, and you're willing to also make a seat at the table and get married to the entrepreneur, beautiful things can happen. And I also want to put out one other thing is, if you're very far on the artist side, yes, you've got to do the inner marriage of the artist and the entrepreneur, but you might also want to bring in somebody else who is an entrepreneur. That could be a business partner, or that could be an assistant. Somebody who just has some structural chops, because structure just may not be your thing. If you're really on the artist side, that's not your strength, and it is the strength of other people. So you can bring other people in. You could have an assistant who you meet with once a week, who's very structurally minded, has spreadsheets, and can help hold your hand and walk you through that. It's not everybody's deal. Not everybody has to be good at it. No need to beat yourself up for not being good at it. There are plenty of things. There's a reason I don't run accounting for hippies, I tell you what. So sometimes we just have to get some help. And that help could be internal, sort of parts work, really tending to this hurt child so that we can become a healed adult. But it could also be external, in which case we need a business partner, we need some coaching perhaps, we need an assistant, some administrative support, some bookkeeping support. Yeah. Whenever we're stuck, so let's say with planning, so the artist is really stuck. It's just like planning is a big fat no. I cannot, will not plan. Whenever we're stuck, there's only two reasons we're stuck. I got this from my colleague Danny Inney. It's either that you don't know how to do it, or you don't want to do it. And that's an important thing to make the distinction. Is it that you just actually don't know how to do planning? Nobody's ever walked you through the process. Or is it a visceral emotional no? Because if it's a visceral emotional no, then you need a different kind of support. Yeah. Or is it just, no, I'm a yes for it, but something in my constitution can't do it? Okay, get a business partner, get an administrative assistant, join a group program that helps you walk you through it. Don't try to do it alone. And if it is the inner stuff, if you're realizing, oh man, there's some part of me doesn't want to do this. I just got this from this call. My dear colleague, Javin Bernakovich, allpointsdesign.ca. Check out his work if you want to do some of the parts work. He's fantastic at what he does. But he pointed out, he said, sometimes we say, well, I'm no good at planning. I'm terrible at that. I'm resistant to that. But linguistically, you can also just shift it a little bit and say, a part of me is resistant to this. There's a part of me that's not good at that. A part of me doesn't want to do this. Just to get some distance so it doesn't, it's one person sitting at the table of all the parts of you. It's just one part. There's other parts of you that probably do want to do the thing. But if you let that part dominate, it's no good. Just like if you're trying to have a business, I don't know if you've noticed, but business is kind of the entrepreneur's thing. They got a lot of good advice. They got good things to say. But if you're in a romantic relationship internally with the entrepreneur and you won't even let them speak, and you tell them to shut up and that they should be ashamed of themselves, and you beat that part up, your business has zero chance. So there's a lot of inner parts work that needs to be done sometimes. And if you combine that with some good structural support, you would be amazed at what can happen. If you struggle with planning, you say, oh, I just can't plan. Two things I'd say. A part of you can't plan. A part of you is resistant. And number two, so far, just yet. But if you do some inner work and you get some outside support, you might be amazed at what you can come up with and the shifts that can happen in your business. So that's what I wanted to share there. I don't know if this is interesting to you. I find this very fascinating. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. You can check me out on Instagram, at Marketing for Hippies. And of course, thank you to everyone who has subscribed and who shares these videos. I'm so grateful.